wide open. Net for the rebound is Mangiapane in his first year with the Oilers. 2-0 Edmonton. And that off to Podkolzin into the 24-year-old. Moves it back to McDavid. Moves it into the middle. And that puck coming up the line. Echo with a drive. They score. It deflects off Hyman. Over the pad of Binnington. 3-0 Edmonton as the Oilers twice have won the net front battle.
Yeah, and I picked those two calls to come back specifically because that, to me, was the narrative tonight as the Blues shut out by the Edmonton Oilers 5-0. Welcome, everyone, into our fourth period. Extended post-game coverage on your home for the Blues 101 ESPN. Along with Graham Francis, I'm Alex Ferrario. As we are live up on our YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL, you could join us over there. You can also just turn on 101 ESPN. You can join in on the conversation, 101ESPN.com. Our text line, 314-399-9646. Over on our YouTube chat. Also, you can you can tweet me at Ferrario101 ESPN. We're going to hear a little from Jim Montgomery, hopefully coming up in our second segment. We'll get our final look, and we'll also hear a little from Mark Spector with our soundbite of the night. But let's jump right into it with our Ted Drew's 3 takeaways.
It's time for tonight's 3 takeaways, presented by Ted Drew's Frozen Custard, a St. Louis tradition for over 95 years. Unmatched quality, unforgettable taste.
So my first takeaway tonight is the play in front of Jordan Binnington, and I think a lot of people are going to say, well, Binnington lost 5-0, another game where he gave up 5 goals. In fact, I think somebody actually messaged me that already, saying it's another game where he's given up 5 or more goals. And to me, that individual that sent me the message did not watch this hockey game. Because this one, with the exception of, I'd argue, the power play goal for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, just the body language of Jordan Binnington, you could tell he wasn't happy with how he was set up for that. The Mangiapane goal, the Zach Hyman goal, the second Zach Hyman goal, and the Podkolzin goal. Poor play in front of him. Jim Montgomery praised the team with their wins over Tampa and Carolina of how tough they were in front of the net, how responsible they were with the puck on their stick, and how they boxed out the opposition, didn't give them much. Tonight, that was not the case. And yes, they had Connor McDavid, but don't come at me that they had Connor McDavid, because this was a team that didn't have Leon Draisaitl too. And they just won the board battles. They won the puck battles. Binnington didn't get any help. I'm not taking him off of the hook fully here, because you do need your goalies to make some saves, and Joel Hofer has been making massive amount of saves that probably he shouldn't even be making. And I was the one, I said it with Joey on pregame. I think I would have started Joel Hofer in this game. But after watching this, I truly believe starting Joel Hofer wouldn't have made a difference. I think they were losing this game no matter what because of the poor play in front of him. I mean, the Mangiapane goal, you let him sneak right behind the defenseman, and as the defenseman is turning around to defend the play, Mangiapane's already shooting it in the net. Zach Hyman standing in front of 2 defensemen and is able to get the deflection and beat Jordan Binnington. The second Zach Hyman goal that came in the second period, that was a defensive zone pass to the middle of the ice, got it to McDavid, and yes, McDavid, hell of a player. Nobody's taking that away. But there were 2 Blues players on top of the one that was defending McDavid that came down the middle of the ice, and the pass from McDavid got to Zach Hyman through both of those players in a one-timer into the back of the net. As a goaltender, you've got to respect the shot from Connor McDavid, and by the time you're getting over on the Zach Hyman goal, you're getting beat. And then the Podkolzin goal. I mean, look, I'll give McDavid credit. That was a hell of a pass. But once again, it bounces off of 2 defenders' sticks and goes right onto the stick of Podkolzin into the back of the net. So a brutal night for the play in front of Jordan Binnington. Second takeaway has to be Oskar Sundqvist. We'll get an update from Jim Montgomery on the other side. Sounds like they avoided the worst, as Jim Montgomery told the media that it did not affect his Achilles, which is a huge, huge positive here, because that was scary in itself, but still seems like it was a pretty deep cut that injured Oskar Sundqvist, and you could see the reaction from the players around them. And, man, that's the other thing. I'm not making the excuse because this team was not winning when they were playing healthy. But and the injuries that they have suffered this season, and especially Oscar Sundqvist, which may not seem like much, but, I mean, that is Jim Montgomery's go-to line. That Sundqvist line shut down the Kucherov line at even strength the other night. That is a line that he trusts. And when you don't have Oscar Sundqvist, you don't have a third of that identity that they like to use. And tonight it wasn't working with him on the ice, but it also wasn't working when you lost him and you don't have that line that you can go to that you rely on. So great news that it wasn't anything serious, but bad news that the Blues, unfortunately, are going to be without Oscar Sundqvist, it seems like, for some time. And then my third takeaway tonight is just the overall picture. I think Lou Korak tweeted this out, and I agree with him. You were outscored 32-9 in the 5 games this season that you had the chance to make it 3 in a row. And you have missed every opportunity to win that game. Not only have you missed that opportunity, but they have been blowouts. You've been outscored 32-9 in those 5 games. An 8-3 loss, a 4-1 loss, 5-2 loss, 7-3 loss, and then a 5-0 loss. That, to me, and I think we know this by now because we've seen it, but that is the epitome of inconsistency. You know, we've talked about how the season feels like it's whack-a-mole, where when one thing gets better, the other thing falters. You played so well in the Carolina and Tampa Bay game. You played simple. You played smart. You played heavy. You played stingy. And all of that was abandoned in this game. And again, Jordan Binnington was in between the pipes. But to me, the play didn't resemble the way it did against Carolina and Tampa. If the play resembled what they looked like versus Carolina and Tampa and you lost, I think we can all be in agreement and say, yeah, your goaltender didn't make the big saves for you tonight. There's no way that you can watch those 2 games that took place on home ice versus Carolina and Tampa and then watch this game and listen to this game tonight and say, yeah, that's the same team. And the same can be said about the first attempt at 3 in a row. Calgary and Vancouver dominated. Chicago lost 8-3. The next chance that they had with that. Ottawa and Utah. The Ottawa game, your goaltender saved it for you. I could argue, I guess, the Utah game as well, because Joel Hofer got the 3-0 shutout. But defensively, a much better game. What happened? 4-1 loss to the Anaheim Ducks. Then you beat Ottawa and Montreal on the road. 2 very stingy games. What'd you do? Lost the lead against the Boston Bruins. Vegas and Montreal. Chicago Blackhawks thumping 7-3. It has just not been consistent for this team, and it goes all the way back to what Doug Armstrong said back when he joined the booth with Chris Kerber and Joe Vitale, that, you know, despite them playing well for a period or 2 periods or 1 game, they have not been able to string enough games together to where you start feeling confident of where this team is at. And tonight was once again another example that just kind of solidified what we already knew about this Blues team. So those are my Ted Drew's 3 takeaways. As always, we want your takeaways. 314-399-9646. Also our YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL. I'm going to call a little bit of an audible. Not going to play the Mark Spector audio because we have audio from Edmonton. So let's get our soundbite of the night tonight and hear from the captain, Braden Shen.
The soundbite of the night is presented by Rocket Convenience Stores. Fuel your car and your daily cravings at Rocket Convenience Stores.
So tough start tonight, Braden. Just kind of had the game get away from you.
Yeah, you know, I took a penalty and gave the best power play in the league an opportunity to get ahead, which they did. And you know, but at the end of the day, you know, we don't play good enough or hard enough in front of Benner. And you know, the reality is, you know, we're leaving him hang out to dry this year, and 5-0 could have been a lot worse. And he made some good saves, and you know, gave up too many goals and don't score enough. And it's a combo, obviously, that you don't want. And we just weren't physical tonight, and didn't play hard enough in front of Bitter.
Team's been really strong at home lately, struggled a little bit on the road. How do you bring that success over onto the field?
I think I would have just touched on. You have to keep it simple. You have to play hard. And that's how you win hockey games on the road, especially against good teams with elite talent. So tonight, like I said, I don't think we did that. even close to enough. Give the best player in the league a lot of opportunities to make plays, and he's going to get chances each night because he's that good. But we gave him too much time and space, and he made us pay tonight.
And a lot of injuries and changing lineup. Does that make it harder to find some consistency?
No, that's absolutely no excuse. Injuries are definitely unfortunate. Never want that, but you don't use that excuse. Every team deals with it, and that's not an excuse for our team. We have to find a way to push through it and play a whole lot better.
And then all Western Conference teams pretty much coming up. Obviously important points. What's the mindset going into these next few games?
Dig in for one another. We're in a spot right now where we can't have games like we did tonight. We have to be in every game, and tonight was a chance for us to win 3 in a row, and we just he said gave McDavid a lot of time and space, and he made us pay, and also the power play wasn't any good. It wasn't any good. It had a chance to get us back in the hockey game, especially early, and just not enough urgency there.
Playing in Calgary the night before a factor at all? Playing back-to-back games.
We didn't play last year. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. They were on a back-to-back, and that's when we should make them pay, and unfortunately, they went the other way on us tonight.
There you go. Braden Shen talking about his team. And I see over in the YouTube chat, people are already upset that I'm making excuses for Jordan Binnington. I'm not really sure how I can help you. Yeah, I agree with what IROC said. Their goalie made saves and our goalie didn't. Absolutely correct. Their goalie made some saves. But you know what they also did for their goalie? They defended the front of the net and didn't allow those chances to go in, second and third chances. And the Blues didn't defend the front of their net. They didn't stop cross-ice passes from one end of the ice to the other. They didn't stop a guy being parked in front of the net that made the deflection, and they didn't stop a guy from going directly in on top of the crease to pick up the rebound that your goaltender made the initial save on. That's it. That was the difference. Connor Ingram was able to make the big saves, but his defense also cleared the front of the net and also didn't allow guys to stand in front of the net. And that's the difference in this one tonight. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll hear from Jim Montgomery. He gives an update on Oscar Sundqvist, and then we'll have our final look. That's all next here on the fourth period on your home for the Blues 101 ESPN.
If you're looking for your next home, think of First Community. Our Smart Choice Home Loan offers a 30-year fixed rate of just 6.531% APR to qualified borrowers, and you only need a down payment of 10%. Whether it's your first home, your forever home, or even a vacation home, be smart with a Smart Choice loan from First Community for all your savings and all your loans. Must qualify for membership. For terms and conditions, call toll-free 1-888-642-7969. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing lender.
For nearly 45 years, family-owned Pure Performance in St. Charles has been helping Missouri and Illinois drivers get the most out of their vehicles. From lift kits and tires to window tint and repairs, go see Shelby and Paul at Pure Performance to be treated like family. Whether you're upgrading your ride or getting it ready for winter, count on Pure Performance for honest advice and quality service every time. Visit the showroom on Harry S. Truman Boulevard or go to pureperformance.com. Trusted by families, driven by performance.
Hey, bro, weirdest thing is happening at the game. This guy sitting next to me says, "You're our good luck charm." Every time I crack a Bud Light, we score a touchdown. Now his entire family wants to buy me Bud Lights. I think I'm some kind of a football prophet. Talk soon. The team needs me.
Anything for Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Stock up today. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
I love Mosby Building Arts, especially for the new year. There's something about January that feels like a clean slate. Holidays are over, decorations are put away, and suddenly you can really see your house again. Holidays also have a funny way of showing you what's working for the house and what's not. That's why people turn to my friends, Mosby Building Arts. They understand how real life actually plays out in the home. And if the holidays gave your home a reality check, start your new year fresh at callmosby.com or call 314-909-1800. Mosby Building Arts, New Year year, New Zen. It is one of my favorite Sundays. It's coming up. It's Championship Sunday in the NFL, and I know I'm going to be playing on Underdog. It's the best place to get in on all the gridiron action because you can make entries and win money right now in Missouri. And playing on Underdog, super easy. Choose whether or not certain players that you like, or maybe there's a matchup or two that you don't like. Choose whether or not those players will go higher or lower on their stats. And Underdog, they've got all the stats. Yardage, passing touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, even have defensive and fantasy stats that you can use to go higher or lower on. Get your entries right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. So what are you waiting for? Championship Sunday's right around the corner. Download the app today. Use my promo code Anthony to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. Again, that promo code is Anthony at Underdog. Make plays, win money. Must be 18 or older and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms_DFS_.html for details. Concern with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.nspgambling.org.
Welcome back to the First Community Credit Union Blues postgame show.
Presented by Scott Lee Heating Company and Urban Chestnut Brewing Company on 101 ESPN.
Final time tonight here on our St. Louis Blues extended postgame show, the fourth period on your home for the Blues 101 ESPN. Alex Ferrario with you as we are live up on our YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL. You can also check us out there or on our Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646. Chris STL 1978 is upset that I'm not answering any of his or saying any of his takeaways on the air. Unfortunately, Chris STL, you have not sent in any takeaways other than blaming Jordan Binnington. And I kind of addressed that in my takeaway. I'm not really sure what else I can say. No, I don't think Binnington, no, it's not that I don't think. Binnington has not been good all season. There have been games that he was not good and that they needed their goaltender. Tonight, they needed their goaltender, but the team in front of them just was not very good. Now, one thing that I do find interesting is I'm a little surprised, and this is kind of a rhetorical question because I know the answer, but I'm surprised Berggren was the decision to scratch over Buchnevich. Buchnevich has been playing better as of late. That's why they're not doing it. But Berggren has been playing well as also on that line, and you had to get Holloway in. I guess the real question is, who are you going to pull out of that lineup? You know, you had Stenberg, who they're not taking out, nor are they taking Neighbors out. So really the options came down to Buchnevich, Berggren, Toropchenko, and Walker. And I don't think they're going to take out Toropchenko and Walker, so Buch over Berggren. Again, it was a rhetorical question. I know why they didn't do Buchnevich over Berggren. And again, Buchnevich just scored a goal. He picked up an assist. He's been playing better. But man, that was another game where combined with Kyrou, Buchnevich, and Neighbors had one shot on goal. Once again, their best players, Nugent Hopkins, Evan Bouchard, Zach Hyman, Matthias Ekholm, Connor McDavid. I mean, they combined for 9 points tonight. And you had one shot from 3 of your top 6 forwards. It's a massive issue for this Blues team and has been a massive issue for this Blues team all season long. Let's hear from Jim Montgomery.
It's time to hear from the head coach, Jim Montgomery, presented by Fisher Window and Door Store, offering quality American-made Marvin windows and doors. Visit their showrooms in Brentwood or East Alton, Illinois.
First, I'm just going to start off with the scary injury to the cut to Sundqvist. I got a cut just above the ankle. Luckily, it did not touch his Achilles. So it's just going to be now how long he's out. It's day to day until we know the cut was deep. I don't know how long that takes, right, until he's back and has the flexibility in his ankle without hurting the cut.
What kind of changed in this game from the last few games?
Our physicality wasn't the same. Our attention to detail wasn't the same. You know, listen, Connor McDavid's the best player in the world for a reason. He showed it again tonight. Big part of our game plan, big part of everyone's game plan is how do you shut him down. He's hard to shut down. Leads league in scoring. He's won so many. You know, that being said, I didn't think our checking skills and our awareness was as good as it needed to be to shut him down. And then our special teams weren't good enough.
How do you translate the recent success at home onto the road?
It's a good question you ask, and a lot of it just comes down to execution and effort. You got to have the same execution, same effort as we did last year at home.
And with a lot of injuries, guys coming in out of the lineup, how do you find that team consistency with different lines?
By trying to make sure that we understand how we play with and without the puck.
And then just how'd Holloway look in his first game back?
Thought he was skating well, thought he had some opportunities, so we'll see how it continues to progress.
It's time to take a look back at tonight's game with the final look.
Driven by Pure Performance. Only stop for all your aftermarket vehicle needs.
So first off, just great news there that it wasn't the Achilles for Oskar Sundqvist. Man, when he went down with his knee, when Curbs and Joey said that, we were behind on play on the television in here, so we didn't know what happened. I looked at Grant. I said, oh, geez, another ACL. Like, this poor guy just can't catch a break with his knees. He's had, 2 reconstructive surgeries on them. And then when you saw the replay, man, the way McDavid's skate went up, it looked like it just cut through like butter. And I'm thinking, oh, no. First, I thought it was the inner knee. Then I was worried it was his calf. Or not his calf, his calf muscle. And then, you get into the Achilles or something like that. So huge that is not anything serious with Oskar Sundqvist. That's first and foremost. But look, it's another game where the team did not come prepared to play. You can call the Carolina Hurricanes game, the Tampa Bay Lightning game, flukes all you want. They still won it. Regardless if it was a fluke, regardless if you got a team on the second of a back-to-back or you got a team that was without some of their best players, this team, the Blues, have played porous a lot this season. And even with teams missing their best players, I've seen the Blues lose this season. So, again, you can call Tampa and Carolina flukes all you want, but it still happened. And they still played some of the best hockey I've seen them play at times this season. Carolina, I thought they were a juggernaut defensively. Offensively against Tampa, they really hemmed that team into their zone. But the problem has been this season, and was once again tonight, they're just not ready to play that next game. They don't have a full committee on the ice that is playing in the same mindset. They had a ton of shot attempts tonight. How much have we been complaining this season about the team not shooting the puck? Well, they had 65 shot attempts tonight compared to 44 shot attempts from the Edmonton Oilers. They out-attempted them. And yeah, Connor Ingram made some good saves. But the Blues only had 8 high-danger scoring chances. So you can sit there and say that their goalie robbed the game and yours didn't. They had 8 high-danger scoring chances at even strength. Or I'm sorry, the Oilers had 12. The Blues had 8 high-danger scoring chances at even strength. They possessed the puck a lot. 61% of that game was their Corsi rating. But it was a lot of one-and-dones. And the scoring chances that they had some in front of the net. A lot of them were outside of the house. So Edmonton kept the Blues to less dangerous areas of putting pucks on net, and the Blues weren't able to capitalize when they did get those scoring chances. Their special teams let them down. They did not score on the 4 power play chances, and they did give up a power play goal, which kind of started the momentum being sucked away from the Blues. So to me, yes, the goaltender didn't make the timely saves. The team did not perform in front of him. There have been plenty of games this season that I can go back and look at and say, yep, goaltender wasn't good tonight. Yep, goalie wasn't ready to play in this one. Goalie needed to make that save. There's been a lot of them. I am not denying it. You don't have one of the worst save percentages in the National Hockey League without being bad. But it's as if we're thinking that Jordan Binnington is always bad. And it's also as if you watched that Carolina and Tampa game and saw how well they played and said, yeah, they played that way tonight against Edmonton. No. Night and day difference. the way they performed tonight versus the way they performed the other night against Carolina and Tampa Bay. So you just start it over again. You erase the number on the whiteboard that says however many days since we've won 2 in a row, and you try and build it back up. The tough news for the Blues is this road trip has just been, not the road trip, the road games have been brutal for the Blues this season. I mentioned it with Joe in pregame. They're one of the worst in the National Hockey League in terms of road record. They're 7-14-3. The next closest team that is below them with record on the road would be the Winnipeg Jets, who are 8-13-2. That is also a trend that has burnt the Blues at times this season, most recently that last 3-game road trip. So they'll pack their bags, they'll head to Winnipeg, they'll wait for the Jets to come in, and they'll drop the puck on Tuesday with a little Central Division matchup. That game on Tuesday, 7 o'clock from Winnipeg, with a pregame skate beginning at 6:30, an extended pregame starting at 6 o'clock, right here on your home for the Blues 101 ESPN. Once again, a huge shout out to Graham Francis, who has done a phenomenal job as he usually does, and a big thank you to all of you for joining in on our post-game conversation over on our YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL. Appreciate everybody joining us. Have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy the day off tomorrow. If you have the day off tomorrow, we will be here for BK and Ferrario from 11 to 2, and then we'll talk to you on Tuesday for Blues and Jets right here on your home for the Blues 101 ESPN.
Thanks for listening to the First Community Credit Union Blues postgame show.
Presented by Scott Lee Heating Company and Urban Chestnut.